Hey everyone, this is Allison, and today I'm here to talk about books all about girl power. Girls who have made incredible accomplishments in their life, like Juliana Rancic, Gretchen Carlson, the former Miss America, all these incredible women that have done so many amazing things. I'm going to review some of their books and hopefully inspire everyone that's out there to read their books so you can be further inspired to go on the moon and conquer whatever you want to do. So to start, I'm going to talk about Going Off Script by Juliana Rancic. This book is very new, it just came out, and if you don't know who Juliana Rancic is, she is a news host on E! On the Fashion Police, and she also has a reality show called Juliana and Bill that airs on E! As well. And on the show, just follows her life and what it's like being an E! News anchor. And to be honest, I didn't really know much about Juliana Rancic when I picked up this book. I know that I've seen her reporting from the E! Red carpet, like at the Oscars, but had no idea who she was. I was at the bookstore, I saw this, and I was like, looks interesting. I'm really, really glad that I picked up the book because Juliana has such an interesting life. She was born in Italy, and her family moved to the United States when she was, a young child, maybe 7 or 8. And she grew up in the suburbs of DC, and from there, she now has gone on to become this really crazy, cool personality on E! And so the book talks about her rise to success from being a pretty unmotivated, mediocre student in high school, but then how she kind of had this fire in her. She wanted to be Miss USA, and while that never happened, she still is extremely successful. So I would highly recommend this book to anyone who kind of wants to learn about her crazy childhood and some of the battles that she faced as she moved forward in her career. But then also, there's some really interesting stories about how she met Leonardo DiCaprio and how, she met Angelina Jolie. So I would give this book a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. I think it has wide appeal and definitely inspired me. The next book that I'm going to talk about is called The Glitter Plan. I love sparkles and glitter, so what couldn't be more fun? It's written by Pamela Skaist-Levy and Jella Nash-Taylor. They are behind, a little known brand called Juicy Couture, which is now a $200 billion empire. Incredible. I want to build a $200 billion empire. So where do I turn to first? Their book. It's really a great book because while it tells the story of how they got started and how they met working at Kitson in LA, which is a famous boutique, it also gives really great business advice. At the end of each chapter, they, have little blurbs where they summarize what was talked about in each chapter and how the average person can put that into their life. Like, for example, they say, you may have to dumpster dive to find resources to start your business, and don't be afraid to do what is necessary. And I love that. I think that's really interesting, and there was a lot of great practical business advice, and it was really fun. I would give this book a 3 out of 5 stars just because I think that, the scope is maybe a little bit limited to people who are just interested in the fashion industry and who actually want to read how that works. But otherwise, I think that they actually had a lot of practical business advice for anyone who wants to start a business. And the next book that I just read this book, it recently came out, is called Getting Real by Gretchen Carlson. I had absolutely no idea who Gretchen Carlson was when I saw this book at the bookstore, but it was in the memoir section, new releases, and I was looking for a memoir. Picked it up, and first thing I read is, this is about Miss America from 1989. I was like, oh, awesome, I can read some juicy scoop about what happened behind the scenes, Miss America 1989. I was wrong. Now, Gretchen Carlson is this amazingly accomplished woman. She went to Stanford and actually took time off Stanford to go to participate in Miss America and win. She was a violin prodigy, spending summers in Aspen at a famous music festival, just practicing. So this book is, less about, gossip about Miss Nevada or, whatever else you may think about Miss America, but more about how Gretchen Carlson has this amazing work ethic and dedication and has built so much with her career. And there is interesting stuff like how she was catapulted to fame when she won Miss America, but then, kind of interesting how once Miss America 1990 was crowned, how she kind of just faded into the shadows and then had to build up her own career. Now she has her own show on Fox, and she was on Fox and Friends. She has done an amazing job building a career as a journalist, and along the way empowering and inspiring a lot of young women. I highly, highly recommend anyone read this book who just needs to get a little bit of motivation to do anything that you're interested in. I mean, I was motivated that night to look up and figure out how I could be Miss America, and who knows if that'll happen, but Gretchen Carlson, she decided she was going to be Miss America, and she won. Definitely read this book, pick this book up. I am giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that this book appeals to a lot of people, not just women, but also men, young and old. Great. Another book that actually is a couple years old, but a great book for anyone who wants to, be empowered in business or anything like that is The Bare Necessities of Business by Maxine Clark. She is the founder of Build-A-Bear and was the CEO until several years ago. Everyone knows what Build-A-Bear is. It's a crazy, global company. In this book, it's less about her story with starting Build-A-Bear, but rather how you can start your own business, how to be your own boss, how to do giveaways, how to fire someone. It's a great book about business sense, and I think that's really important for anyone who wants to, start a nonprofit organization, who wants to start a startup, whoever wants to start a booktube. There is sound advice for anyone in this book for business, and Maxine is a phenomenal woman. Highly recommend this as well. I know I keep saying I highly recommend these books, but I specifically chose these books because I love them all. I would give this book a 3.5 out of 5. It's not too dense, but for someone who's not necessarily interested in business like I am, it might be a lot. Lastly, a book I read on my iPad, I read Girlboss by Sophia Amoruso. Great book. It talked all about Sophia Amoruso's rise to being a global fashion leader with her website Nasty Gal. She started on eBay selling old vintage clothing, and now Nasty Gal is crazy. I buy clothes from Nasty Gal all the time. Love Nasty Gal. And what Sophia Amoruso did is she combined, kind of where she came from just a little bit with some of her interesting stories to how she went from not even really finishing community college to running this global fashion company. Great story. It has practical business advice, kind of like the Glitter Plan. I would kind of lump those two together in that regard. And I would say that is definitely worth reading as well. It's a very quick read, but it has great information and definitely inspires me to be a girl boss and try my best to follow how fierce and awesome Sophia is. So definitely read that book. I'm giving that one a 4 out of 5. I thought it was funny, interesting, but also had really great business advice. So I hope that everyone enjoyed this video of my reviews. Definitely look out for more videos to come. I read a lot. Subscribe, as there will be a wide gamut of information and books reviewed on our booktube. Have a nice day!